What happened at Chernobyl has not yet been completely revealed to the world. Like now and subscribe. This story will change what you think you know. In the early hours of April 26, 1986, Reactor 4 exploded. It was not just an explosion, it was a sequence of deliberately concealed failures. A safety test was initiated, and operators were forbidden from interrupting it. There was a reactor flaw, known since 1983 and classified as a state secret. The 1,200-ton reactor lid was launched into the air like paper. Pripyat residents went to the balcony, admiring what they thought was a common fire. The blue glow above the reactor was radiation visible to the naked eye. Lethal dose exceeded. The first firefighters touched fragments of the exposed core with their bare hands. These men died within weeks, and their coffins were sealed with lead. What was found inside the reactor years later should not have been possible to exist. Liquidators descended underground to prevent a second explosion that would have destroyed Europe. 3 men dove into radioactive water voluntarily, knowing they would not survive. What they found underground in 1990 is the most dangerous thing ever created by humanity. The elephant's foot, nuclear fuel, sand, and melted concrete, is still active today. 30 seconds of exposure to the elephant's foot in 1986 were enough to kill. The hastily built sarcophagus began to crack in less than 10 years. In 2016, the largest mobile structure in humanity was slid over the reactor. While they built external barriers, something unexpected was happening inside the exclusion zone. Nature reclaimed Chernobyl in a way that contradicts everything we know about radiation. Wolves, bears, and lynxes thrive there in numbers not seen in Europe for centuries. Scientists expected a radioactive desert and found the largest European biodiversity refuge. Humanity is more destructive to animals than the worst nuclear catastrophe in history. Researchers found in the animals something they cannot completely explain to this day. Birds with cataracts and tumors. Nature adapts, but pays an invisible price. The Red Forest is perhaps the most radioactive place a human can still visit. The pine trees died before changing their leaves, and the trunks are still standing. The wood does not decay there because the decomposing bacteria themselves also died. A black fungus was found growing inside the reactor toward the radiation source. Cladosporium uses gamma rays as energy, the same way plants use sunlight. NASA already studies this fungus to protect astronauts, and its origin is the Chernobyl core. Now we will enter the city abandoned in 36 hours and never reoccupied again. 50,000 people were instructed to take essentials because they would return in 3 days. The amusement park was inaugurated for May Day and was never used. The bumper cars are still there, and the carousel still spins with the wind. At the Pripyat school, notebooks are still open on desks with written lessons inside. At the Azure pool, blue tiles cover the walls, and it was used by liquidators until 1996. In the hospital basement, the first firefighters' suits are still there and are still lethal. Nobody can touch those suits. They are simultaneously a monument and an active radioactive danger. Reactor number 4 still produces nuclear fission reactions inside the sarcophagus today. In 2021, sensors detected increased neutrons in inaccessible chambers, still without explanation. There is a mystery few people know, and it involves an object that disappeared in the explosion. The Duga antenna, a secret Soviet radar of 150 meters, was 60 kilometers from the reactor. The Duga was so secret that Soviet maps showed a summer camp in its place. Amateur radio operators called the Duga signal the Russian Woodpecker without ever knowing its origin. The greatest secret of Chernobyl may be human. There are people living inside the exclusion zone. The babushkas, the grandmothers of Chernobyl, returned illegally and refused to leave again. Some live decades beyond life expectancy, and science has still not answered why. The last babushka said she would die there anyway. She was right about everything. Tourists from all over the world turned Chernobyl into one of the fastest growing destinations in Europe. They came seeking something rare in the modern world, a place where time literally stopped. There is a layer that documentaries do not discuss: the psychological impact on surviving liquidators. 600,000 people participated in the cleanup, and many young soldiers did not know what they were doing. They swept radioactive graphite with shovels and received medals they could not mention the reason for. And here we arrive at the most disturbing secret: what Chernobyl revealed about human nature. For 6 hours after the explosion, the government publicly stated that the reactor was completely intact. The denial was not just political. The system was built on the premise of the impossible. Chernobyl is the largest involuntary experiment on the limits of what a civilization can deny. Today, the reactor is monitored 24 hours by a team on absolutely permanent rotation. The nuclear fuel inside the sarcophagus will be dangerous for more than 100,000 years. The current dome will last at most 100 years, and then will need to be completely replaced. The children born 50 years from now will inherit the responsibility of containing Chernobyl. How to communicate danger to civilizations 10,000 years away that speak no current language. Real projects were created. Concrete thornfields communicating danger without any language at all. Chernobyl forces us to think in timescales that the human mind cannot process. The most important secret of Chernobyl is not scientific nor historical. It is deeply human. Every person in the decision chain assumed another would know exactly what to do. Nobody assumed the complete picture, and that failure is not Soviet. It is completely universal. Chernobyl is a mirror, and what it reflects is absolutely uncomfortable to face. While you watch this video, nuclear reactions continue happening beneath that steel dome. The exclusion zone has 2,600 square kilometers, governed by a single night in 1986. If you made it here, you now know what most people will never know. Like this video and subscribe to keep discovering what the official history does not tell. The exclusion zone gate was the beginning. What is inside there has not yet finished. The liquidators who entered knew they were being consumed, but did not stop working. No word completely describes what happened to the men who saw the blue glow. The fungus growing toward death may be the greatest biological discovery of the century. Every abandoned object in Pripyat tells a story no museum can reproduce. Nature did not forgive Chernobyl. It simply decided the place was its own now. The horses that galloped through the Soviet ruins never knew that place was once human. There is something disturbing about seeing life thrive exactly where death was most absolute. The elephant's foot will continue existing when all current human languages are already extinct. No generation asked to be responsible for Chernobyl, and all future ones will not ask either. The three men who opened the flooded valve never had statues nor ceremonies in their name. The Russian Woodpecker signal disrupted communications around the entire world for years without anyone knowing. The babushkas planted potatoes in the most monitored soil in Europe and survived to tell it. Every crack in the original sarcophagus represented a decision made in haste in 1986. The largest mobile structure in humanity exists because of a design error classified as secret. The red forest has no smell of death. It smells like any normal pine forest. The animals of Chernobyl do not know they live in the most contaminated place in Europe. The silence of Pripyat is not empty. It is the sound of 50,000 lives interrupted at once. Chernobyl did not end in 1986 and will not end on any date any person alive today will see. The Pripyat River channel is cleaner today than it was before the accident in 1986. If you made it to the end of this video, you understand Chernobyl better than most governments admit. Like, subscribe and share, because some stories need to be heard before they are forgotten.